Hey y'all, it's my review for the Real Housewives of New Jersey, episode 6. So we start the episode off, montage of all the ladies, great. Now we're with Teresa going to therapy. Now, okay, before I say it's the best fiends and fast forward, I do applaud Teresa for going to therapy. It's because of Louis the Lobster, because he's supposedly Zen, and also after her altercation with Margaret where she pushed all that stuff on her, she didn't like how she reacted to Margaret. So that also inspired her to go to therapy. So she talks about her anger issues and we get a little clip show from production of past Teresa meltdowns. Of course, she talks about her brother, and I don't know, it makes me roll my eyes a little bit because she's not the entire victim in all this, and I think when she accepts some accountability on her behalf, then she could possibly move forward. And I think they should do group therapy. Her, Melissa, as well as Joe. They all need group therapy. I remember season 3. She had it out for Melissa and her brother. And now, 10 seasons later, it's still the same back and forth. I'm over it personally, but yeah. She said her brother's anger scares her, and I'm like, well, the apple don't fall far from that tree. Literally. Anyway, I think that's it from this therapy session. We can move on. Fast forward. Next scene, we're with Margaret, and she recently had her wrist surgery. I still can't believe, this all came from her falling at Melissa's party in episode 1. Now, wait a minute, Margaret. She says that Joe is wiping her ass? It's not like she can't use both of her arms. I thought it was just one. I think it's easy to wipe with each arm. I would be just like that Michael Jackson meme. You need to get somebody else to do it. I'm looking at Margaret, she's sitting there, eating with her left hand. You can't wipe your ass? Anyway, she's being visited by Gent Fessler. They're just having a little kiki right now over lunch. So they're talking about the upcoming baseball game for charity that they're all going to. Jennifer's name come up. And speaking of which, we then cut to Jennifer talking to her husband at their house about her blow up with Margaret. Now, of course, she's giving her version of events and saying how Margaret unleashed on her, called her a disheveled little drug addict. Jennifer explains that just because she smokes marijuana at night doesn't make her a drug addict. And I agree, but it's still funny. She then continues painting herself the victim in this argument and calls Margaret an albino in a wig. We then cut back to Jen Fessler and Margaret, and Jen tells her, you know what, this isn't you, Margaret. You shouldn't let her get to you like that. But I'm with Margaret. A bitch go low, I'm going lower. And that fight was epic. Somebody should have stepped in and stopped it earlier before it started, but look, they just really don't fuck with each other. Jen tells Margaret that next time you see her at the baseball game, just keep it cordial. Don't let her get you out of character. We then see Jennifer telling her husband that when Margaret unleashed on her, that no one said anything, everyone was quiet. And it's most likely because they're afraid of Margaret, because she's holding everyone's secrets or whatever. She calls her a master puppeteer. I wouldn't give Margaret that much power. It's just don't mess with Margaret, and she won't go digging. Jennifer does the same thing. She went to Margaret's ex-friend to get dirt on Margaret. Y'all are one and the same. So next scene with Dolores, she's at her man house, and y'all can just see how happy she is, compared to when she was dating that dead doctor. Her man not that easy on the eyes, but look, he's making her happy, and that's all that matters. Also, side note, Dolores' man's house is very nice. What does he do? It looks like he got some coin. So they're being visited by Dolores' dad, who is just peak old Italian man. Hey, Dolores, I missed you. So it looks like Dolores' dad approves her new relationship. They're going outside, just the two of them, to walk the dog, and she's telling them how happy she is, and then about her relationship now with Frank, which is not as close as it used to be. And again, we hear from Dolores in her confessional how shitty of a husband Frank was, but she kept him in her life, for the kids' sake and, maintain the friendship. She's basically saying that she's putting more priority in her man over Frank, which she should, and she says she doesn't talk to him as much, and, she doesn't see him as much just out of respect for who she's dating. And I get that. Like, you know, it's a boundary. And Frank just gonna have to deal. And what's crazy is Frank got a girlfriend already. Like, tend to her. I'm surprised she don't have a problem with that. It looked like Dolores on the fast track. Like, I think next season, like, she might be engaged. So next scene, we're with three couples. We're with Melissa and Joe, Rachel and her husband, and then Frank and his girlfriend. Now, is his girlfriend going to be like the new friend of? And wouldn't that be an interesting dynamic? Like, you have a housewife on the show with her ex-husband whose girlfriend is a part of the cast with the ex-wife. I don't think we've ever seen that. But anyway, they're at the batting cages just to practice for the upcoming baseball charity game. Now, you would think that since Dolores has a new man, like Frank would be out the pitch and not be filming as much. But Frank is actually a fan favorite. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bravo like offered his girlfriend a role just so they could keep Frank on the show. So Frank is talking about his relationship with Dolores from his perspective. And he's saying that he's happy for Dolores, but it's affecting their family dynamic. And I'm like, Frank, your kids is grown. What family dynamic? Like, y'all can all like see each other. I'm pretty sure he could come around during the holidays or something, but as far as just like a constant friendship with Dolores, no. So then we get Frank's girlfriend's opinion on the matter, and she says that she was used to the dynamic. Like, when she first got with Frank, she was a little insecure, but then she said she got used to it and said that there was nothing for her to worry about. But that's the thing, not everybody has to accept that. Yeah, so Frank's girlfriend, I think she should be a part of the show, at least as a friend of. Like, I think like once they get like Rachel like set up and she gets next season, they should bring her friend in. So after the activity, they're all sitting down talking, and now Jennifer is the topic of conversation, and Melissa says she peeps game of what Jennifer's trying to do. She's trying to get back at Margaret, trying to get everybody to go against her, and she's not worried about what Jennifer told in the last episode because she know Margaret was just, you know, playing around. Rachel then shares with the table what Teresa and Jennifer told her about not trusting Margaret. Like, it's easier to be her friend than her enemy. Now, you know Melissa gonna run and tell Margaret that immediately. When Melissa hears this, she says Teresa is fake for that. And yeah, she's right. Like, Teresa is the one that approached Margaret to get to a better place with her. But then she's telling people that, oh, well, yeah, I'd just rather be her friend than her enemy, just to get her to stop talking. Also, Melissa, if you have all this to say about Teresa, like, why do you even care to, like, even be included in her wedding? So, yeah, it just goes both ways. Like, they just don't like each other. When you think about it, though, Teresa's doing the same thing with Melissa. Like, she don't like Melissa, but she'd rather be her friend than her enemy because it creates conflict with her brother. Y'all let me know, though, is that fake of Teresa or is that just smart on her part? Melissa then tells Rachel, like, she's heard it all before, like Sunshine Anderson, how Teresa operates and what they're trying to do, which is ice out Margaret. So next scene is the day of Dolores' charity baseball game. All the ladies are arriving. Side note, Dolores is showing some of the ladies, like, how the husband's calendar came out, and Jackie's husband, wow. Like, yeah, he's the hottest house husband on this franchise. Jackie is smiling from ear to ear and glowing because she knows she got the finest man in the group. So half the ladies are there right now. Margaret's there, and some of the ladies are, of course, asking her how she's gonna react when Jennifer comes. I mean, I don't think they're gonna act out on the field. Like, so far, this episode is just really chill. Nothing really, like, dramatic is happening. It looks like Jackie and Danielle are getting along, though. They're right next to each other and just being cordial. So Margaret's just telling them her perspective of the argument that her and Jennifer had. And she said that Jennifer accused her of trying to break up Melissa and Joe, when all she was saying was jokingly telling Melissa that she could have any ball player she wanted. We cut to Danielle's confessional, and she said that she would personally feel offended if a friend told her that she could do better with a ball player or another man other than her husband. Now, when she puts it like that, I get it. But I think she was just trying to lift Melissa's spirits because Joe do be thinking that he's hot shit. And I think Margaret was just trying to let Melissa know that she's hot shit too. I think so far in the season, like, it's easy to tell with the new girls which sides they're going on. Like, Rachel is clearly on team Margaret, and then Danielle, she wants to get on the winning team with Teresa and Jennifer. So interesting. So most of the ladies are there now except for Teresa and Jennifer, coincidentally. And I think Margaret brings up, like, well, unless Teresa has something to say about me. And then it's actually Danielle that lets her know that Teresa told her, like, well, she should look out for Margaret, and her friendship with Margaret, she makes a better friend than an enemy. So it wasn't even Rachel that told her. And I agree with Margaret. We cut to her confessional. She's like, look who's talking. That's why I don't like Teresa, because she loved throwing a rock and hiding her hand, but she's not smart enough to do that. Like, we clearly see that you threw the rock. So Jennifer arrives and production is just having a field day trying to create contention or whatever in the scene through editing. But Margaret, she says hello to Jennifer's husband. He says hello to her too. And Jennifer, she just ignores Margaret, even though Margaret did say hello to Jennifer. So we see Melissa and Joe arrive, and then last but not least, Teresa. Like, I think she purposely gets to these events last. Joe sees Teresa coming in, and he just goes into a whole different direction. Like, he just doesn't even want to see her. It's so funny from each of their perspectives. Like, Teresa saying that, oh, she's worried about her brother's temper. And then from Joe's perspective, he's like, Teresa can go from 0 to 100. You just never know with her. So Teresa and Joe's family are finally interacting, and it just all feels obligatory. It just feels so forced and uncomfortable. It just comes off so fake. Like, they're all looking at the calendar. Teresa's like, oh my God, come here, Louie, come here. It's so cute. Y'all like have a war between y'all, and y'all just acting like nothing is going on. So the baseball game starts, and this is a surprisingly popular event. Like, people love the Jersey Housewives. They have a very dedicated niche audience that really shows up, especially in the ratings. I also think that they should do this every year. I mean, while the franchise is still on. So y'all know I don't give a shit about this baseball game, so fast forward. I mean, it's cute, everybody getting along. It looks like they're doing really well on the field. So during the game, we see Rachel and Jennifer talking, and Rachel is saying that she was talking to Jennifer's daughter, who's at the game, and was saying that she wanted to be a love therapist when she grows up. And Jennifer's kind of taken aback by that because that's her first time hearing that. And it makes her sad because she said her daughter wanted to be like a Broadway star or a singer. But she thinks because her daughter knows about the cheating allegations now that she switched up what she wants to be when she grows up. We cut to Jennifer's confessional, and she's saying this is exactly the reason why I didn't want to discuss this or want this out. And it looks like she's placing all the blame on Margaret when she should be mad at her husband for cheating on her in the first place. I'm even throwing my personal experience into this. Take it from a kid whose mom hid all of his dad's infidelities like throughout their marriage. It doesn't help when like you don't talk to your children about this, because when you hide it from them and they find out from other ways, or they're just blindsided like I was. Like, when my parents got a divorce, I was blindsided. I didn't know at all. It definitely affected me into my adolescence. And I also switched schools at the same time. So yeah, definitely affected me. But you just have to talk to your children. Like, they're not stupid. Hiding things isn't the best way, in my opinion, from my experience. And also, Jen, you signed up for a reality show. Like, so your business is going to be out there whether you like it or not. So you should have known that would have been a risk if you didn't want that out. At the end of the day, my point is she should be mad at her husband more than she's mad at Margaret. Alright, so more than playing baseball, fast forward. So later on during the game, we see a few of the ladies talking to Dolores, and we found out that Paul didn't come because of his upcoming heart surgery that he needs to have. I think that was pretty convenient on his part, so him and Frank didn't have to be in the same place, because I think we were all looking forward to that, like just seeing how they interact with each other. And then you got dumb, messy-ass Melissa telling Dolores, oh, I thought he didn't come because he didn't want to be around Frank. Shut up. Mind your business. Like, why would she bring that up? Why would she even say that out loud? Like, I need Melissa and Joe to stay out of Frank and Dolores' business. They keep, like, inserting themselves and trying to get them to talk about it. So then Frank tells Dolores that he misses their relationship. You know what? Tough titty, Frank. Tough titty. Dolores needs to move on. She needs to put herself first. Herself. And then make her man, who she's talking to and wants a life with, make him a priority. That's not you. Like, y'all can still like have a relationship, but with boundaries. Y'all didn't have boundaries a few past seasons. Like, y'all would go on trips together, and she would still have a boyfriend, but you were cool with the boyfriend, so it didn't matter. It's like now that she has a boyfriend that actually wants to be on camera, wants to be around Dolores like most of the time, now it's a problem. Also, I would love to hear what y'all think on Dolores and Frank's situation. Do y'all think that Frank has a point? Like, Dolores should, keep the relationship that they have? Or are you on Dolores' side with, like, just making her man a priority and putting up boundaries with Frank? Not Frank being moved to tears. Really? Sir, are you in love with Dolores still? Why you got a whole like 20-something-year-old girlfriend? Oh, Melissa, put a sock in it. Oh, you guys are gonna make me cry. Shut up. We cut to Dolores' confessional and she says, you can't make me feel guilty about a relationship that I'm in and that I deserve. Knock it off. All right, we're back to the baseball game. Fast forward. We see a little moment where Joe Gorga's son, like he's talking to Teresa and the daughters, and I guess production wanted to try to make an awkward moment out of that, but it doesn't really lead to anything. Just something about Gia I don't like. I feel like she's in on it, and she's just lying for her mom. That's where her allegiance is, but just every time she gets a chance to talk about Melissa and Joe, she does. Just seems a little calculated, that's all. All right, so the Jersey team, they won the baseball game. Good for them. Fast forward. So next scene, we're with Jennifer and her husband going to therapy, and I think this is where they're going to end the show on. I'm assuming this is the therapist that Jen Fessler recommended to Jennifer. Bill does not look like he wants to be there at all. So of course the focus of this session is Jennifer talking about Bill's infidelity and keeping it a secret. You should have dealt with it before, like you hiding it. I mean, you went on a reality show knowing that you had skeletons in your closet. What did you think was gonna happen? Yes, she has to talk about infidelity with her child, but other than that, hey, I mean, it happened, but it's not anyone's fault outside of y'all's marriage. So Bill finally gets to speak and he says his experience now, like with the kids since the allegations came out, is like the mom always seems like the good guy. But according to Jennifer, Bill is putting all the parenting on her shoulders since he seemed like he can't deal with it. Jennifer just has a laundry list of problems that she has with Bill. And I'm kind of scared for their marriage. Like I could really see them divorcing by next season. She's gonna benefit. I mean, she's the one with 5 kids. She's gonna take him to the cleaners. And Bill is just sitting there taking it. I can't tell if he's angry or embarrassed or upset. He's just sitting there like. So by the end of the session, the therapist is urging Bill to be more present and there for his family. And then she recommends that they come see her again. And Bill is like, great. And that is where the episode ends. This was a light filler episode, you know, something to have on while you eating or texting or something like that. Not while frying catfish. It deserves a little bit more of your attention. Yeah, so let me know what y'all thought about this episode and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye.